thanks for joining me here again on Sunshine Forest on Farming Simulator 25. It's episode 16 with me, MrSealyp. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm on the peat fields and I have a plan. Things are going to be changing quite a lot. So I have done an intermediate test video, which I was talking about in the last episode. I needed to do some more testing, and I've kind of put it up on the Let's Play sort of list. It's not technically an episode, it's like 15 minutes long. It's just me doing some testing of what I thought was the situation. Now, the situation is this, that we bought this land, and there's a lot of land here. I don't need all of this land to be peat. It is peat, but what I mean is for harvesting of peat. Once I've unloaded this is full, we're at 45,000 litres. I'm going to take this up, I'll talk about it while we're going. I've got a little bit left dry that I've windrowed to collect. So what I'm intending doing, and I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to try it. I'm going to leave 2 strips, maybe 3, for peat harvesting. If I come back to do some more peat harvesting. With what I'm unloading now, I should have covered the cost of leasing the bits that I did to have a go at the peat harvesting. But because my testing has revealed that it never sort of shows harvested, and it's constantly ready to be cut again. I could cut the same 3 bits 3, 4, 5 times and get a cut each time, and it just pile up. I can then dry it and then collect it all and have an absolute load without having to go over everything. So all that land now, technically, if I was going to do that, I've paid a lot of money for a lot of land that I'm not using. So can I repurpose that land is the thing I was thinking. Can I plough it? Will it allow me to create fields and all the rest of it bar like 3 strips? And if we go back to the map, we'll go back to here. We got all of this. So when we purchased this plot of land, which cost us, what was it? It was 311. So not only did we get all of the peat fields that are there, we got all of this around it as well. So we got a load of forestry. We got a ton of stuff there that we can do. So we're not short of forestry, as you can see, and as you know, we've got absolutely loads of it. We are not going to run out. But as far as fields go, when you look at the size of the fields we've got already and the ones that I've done and I've planted, these are there. These are fair-sized plots. Now, they've got the waterways between them. So it's going to be kind of, you know, when you have like agroforestry and you've got rows of trees and you've got crops between them. It's going to be like that. It's still boggy ground. So I'm thinking, well, what crops could we put in the ground there? I'm thinking I might do some poplar. I thought about maybe sugarcane. I don't normally do sugarcane. I thought maybe we could do some sugarcane down there. Maybe poplar, definitely I'm going to do. But some other crops, I'm thinking about crops that might do well in damper, wetter ground conditions. But because that's peat, the soil nutrients, that should be very rich soil. The same as when you're down by like river basins and stuff like that, and you get that silty soil, really, really rich in nutrients. So I'm going to have a go at ploughing it out and potentially repurposing it as fields. Like I say, I don't know if it's going to work or not, we'll see. But what we're also going to be doing in this episode, corn harvest is done. I had a worker going on that while I was messing around with the peat stuff. And we did all right, actually. I think we've got 52,000 litres of corn off that field. And that's a fairly small field as well. Again, I was amazed with the rice result. I was amazed with the corn result. So I said about canned corn, there's a preserved food, there's the preserved cannery thing, but there's one that does a corn add-on for it. So can we can corn? We're going to be doing the can. So I'm going to put in a little, it's going to be there's 2, I think. There's a large one and a small one. I'm going to do the small one, so we're going to do it down at our thing, and we're going to do some canned corn. And I think actually while we're up here, I'll go back down and we'll grab the last little bit of dry. There's only a little bit there. So what I will do is we need to obviously decide what crop we're going to put into our previous cornfield, but we have got our apples here. Pay attention, is there a train coming? Don't think so. So up here we're going to have our juicery, So we're going to put a juicery in. I said I was going to do. I think that's about 10 grand, and I think the corn cannery is about, and we can do other things as well, but we're going to do the canned corn. I just think we can store the corn and we can leave it in a silo and it will dry down and do whatever, but if we want to preserve it and have it more useful for people that are going to be coming to work in the area, canning it is a better idea. So in this spot here we're going to be putting the juice thing for our apples. I think these are liftable, aren't they? I'm pretty sure these are 1,000. Are they 1,000? Liftable? Yes, cool. So we're going to be doing some juice. Trying to think what else. I'll have to have a look at all the various different crop types and have a look online to see, because I'm not too sure. I'm not an actual farmer, you know that. What crops are? I mean, obviously, no crops do well in, you know, no one wants to be submerged. No, because crops drown. They will just, if you get a lot of flooded areas, crops won't grow. That's just, you know. But there are certain crops that do thrive better in damper, moister conditions, and that silty, soily stuff, peaty ground might work very well. Anyway, let's put this in. There she blows. So let's put it in. Now, for those people that have already asked me, and some people have already asked me, I said in the previous episode that released on the day I was driving about me going to Tom Pemberton's farm. I did the trip. I met him. I met Anna. If you've watched any of Tom Pemberton's stuff, I met Mr. Pemberton's senior, Andrew. I had a chat to all of them and we did some stuff, and I said there was a school visit. I did a bit of recording, but not as much as I wanted to do, because, like I say, I said it on the video before, that it was a school trip and there were a lot of children. There were a few children. The day was amazing, and I'll say this now: Tom Pemberton is an absolute natural, because he's so down to earth and so normal. There's no airs and graces to him. He's not. What's the? We always refer to it as he's not up himself. He's not. You know, he doesn't rate himself as better than it, you know, that kind of thing. And the way he interacted with the kids was just absolutely brilliant. And the lady Victoria from the Country Trust that was there, and she kept laughing at me because I was just as excited as the kids were, because I was there. I was, you know, I know I said it on the video before, and I wasn't sure what it was going to be like. Let's put the fruit in while I'm talking about it. It was let's just say the journey was interesting. I can't remember where these go. Is it around to the side there? There we go. Right, so what we'll do now, is it outside or inside we turn this on? Can't remember. Is it by here? Is it somewhere? There must be somewhere I get to switch this on. Oh. I'm going to need to do my thing and put a little thing down, aren't I? Do my thing and put a little thing down. Because the presses should start working once I get it running. Huh? That's weird, hang on. I've put a little marker down on the ground. We have a little dirty patch. I've just been stamping up and down on the grass. There we go. So, apple juice, let's turn that on. That's going to start chugging away. There we go, look. Our presses are turning, our apples are going. Cool. Yeah, so when I said about in the last episode, I was recording the last episode, I literally uploaded it, made sure everything was good to go. I got in the van and off I went. And I don't like travelling on my own. I said that in the video before. I'm despite what people may think about what I do for a living and that kind of thing, I get very anxious about things like that. And because my back's been bad, and I must admit, up until I was due to leave, I wasn't sure I was going to actually go. I really wasn't sure whether or not my anxiety of travelling alone, and I drove up, it was, you know, from where I live up to Blackpool area, which is where the Tom Pemberton's farm is. It's not, I mean, it depends where you live in the world. It's not, miles wise, it's not horrendous, but the route I could go all sorts of routes, but it's a motorway called the M1, then the M6 in the UK, and the M6 goes up through Birmingham, then it goes up the sort of western side of the country, and it goes up past, and the M1 was always designed, and M6 was designed to link all these big places. So you've got Manchester, Liverpool, you've got places like Warrington, lots of big places as you go up. I got as far as a place called Milton Keynes, which isn't too far from where I live, up the M1, and the heavens opened. The weather was biblical. The traffic was doing sort of, I mean, I'm in the van, my VW, so I only go about 60 mile an hour because of, you know, because of speed restrictions. That's a whole other story I've talked about before, my speeding infringements. So I'll do 60, 65, I'll poot along quite happily. And traffic was sort of 70 mile an hour. Sometimes you get, it's weird on motorways, you get a heavy speed day where traffic seems to be going really fast, and you'll be going along 60, 65, and everything is hammering past you at like 80 miles an hour, which is breaking the speed limit, but you know, people do. Then you get slow days where you'll be doing 60, 65, and everyone else is doing pretty much a similar speed. It's interesting how that happens. So off we go, and you know, and I had my music playing, I'm singing away, and I'm thinking, okay, you know, this isn't so bad, we'll be good. And the heavens opened. I had the wipers on max, and you could not see a thing. And the traffic went from sort of 60, 70, 80 miles an hour, dropped to 40. Everybody just went boom and slowed right down because you could not see a thing, which was brilliant because often when you get bad weather, people still drive like idiots. But then the problem was, because the traffic was bad anyway, I hit Birmingham, the turnings for Liverpool, for Manchester, and I crawled. It took me an hour and a half to get through on the M6 at Birmingham. The entire journey, which I've got to the Lake District quicker, it took me 6.5 hours to get up there. And by the time I arrived, it was getting quite late, and I was staying in just like a Premier Inn, for depending on where you are in the world, like a motel. A cross between a hotel and a motel. It is a motel really, but they charge hotel prices. And I was exhausted. It was really, because of the weather as well, you're having to focus so much more. And because I've got adaptive cruise control in the van, which I absolutely adore. First vehicle I've ever had that's got it on. And the rain was so bad, I'm assuming that water or mud or salt or whatever had splashed up off the road, and I got probably an hour and a half into the journey in the rain, and my adaptive cruise control stopped working because one of the sensors at the front had been blocked by something, whether it was mud or whatever it was, had blocked the sensor. But then obviously meeting Tom and all the rest, it was absolutely amazing. The journey back was a lot better, and you know, but I was hoping to have an entire video, you know, to post, you know, to show I was at Tom Pemberton's, I did this, I did that, and we did some stuff. So I did some recording, I did an intro, did a bit of recording, did some stuff, but obviously because my back had been bad, and then I got to a point where my back was really starting to hurt, and I'd taken a load of painkillers, and I was on my feet a lot of the day, which I hadn't been for the last week and a half prior to that, when my back had first gone. I was on my feet most of the day. It got to a point I was really struggling, and I suddenly thought, if my back like goes again, I won't be able to drive home. You know, I won't be able to stand, I won't be able to do anything. So I got in the van to drive home. On my way back, and suddenly realised I hadn't recorded an outro. I think because my focus just went. I was just more focused on staying upright, and you know. So I haven't really got much of a video. But in talking to Tom, we kind of had a couple of discussions. It's a difficult thing to try and organise getting up there, and I understand. You know, when he was explaining to me about the situation, how it might work or might not work. So I might get to go back up there, but just to let everyone know, you know, thank you to everyone that reached out, everyone that's been messaging saying how did it go, what was it like, and you know, I had the best time because it's like that. It's that mini Mecca. It's that, you know, for me, I got to go somewhere that and I've said this on the previous episode, that I've watched for so long, watching his videos. I played on the Balham Road dairy farming map, you know, all these things I've done to get to actually be there and walk around and interact with him. You know, I didn't know how much. Oh, I did miss one. I didn't know how much he would be doing with, you know, the school party, but he was there the whole time, and it was that, you know, I didn't know what to expect. I suppose no different to the kids when they were arrived. They didn't know what they were going to be doing. But it was great, and we made. If I do get a little bit of the video up, that's what I was going to ask. I suppose on this was, should I just put a little video up of what I did record, maybe do an outro here in the man cave, but just put up what I did record. They did this brilliant thing. I thought was really, really cool, especially with the kids. It's one of those things that you'll remember when you're much older, I would imagine. That obviously in game we did total mix ration, and you've got various different ways of doing total mix ration. So we went into the big barn, that again I've watched videos of it being built and wearings coming out and all that. I'm fanboying, I am. But they had these big tubs, and then they had all these small buckets, and the kids all got to grab a small bucket. They let a load of the cows into the cow barn, so the cows are all in there, and they're kind of coming in because they're going to be fed, So he explained about what they feed the cows, the rations. So they had one big tub, had their grass silage out the silage clamp, and it had this incredible sweet smell that silage has. And then they had the maize silage, because they've been growing maize and they've been doing maize, which is out of the second clamp which is next to it. They had a bucket with that in. Then they had what they referred to as cake. I meant to ask actually what that is made up of. They also have, and they've referred to things of Selco. They had stuff like beer remnants. I've talked about that before. Jennings Brewery used to do that, where the stuff left over from the process of the maltings and the making of the beer, they've got a whole load of that. And then they had a big bucket of like the sugar, more sugar stuff, which is more sort of the ground down cake. What they did then was showed the kids do handfuls of each, put it into your bucket, and then mix up. So they became like a mini feed mixer, which was brilliant. So I videoed a bit of me doing that as well, and we put all the stuff into a bucket, you mix up, and all the kids stood there holding their bucket, and the cows were all lined up with their heads through the thing waiting to be fed. And on the count of 3, the kids would go up and tip all their food down. It was brilliant. It was so good. And as an adult doing it for real, and obviously then we went out, they've got a Keenan mech fibre, and he talked to the kids about the fact that's just a much bigger bucket. We went into the new parlour, and they explained and showed the milking process. They got a load of cows in, and the cows had already been milked, but they kept a few back and they did some milking. It was a brilliant day. It really, really was great. The parlour, which I really, really did want to film, I couldn't, because the parlour's quite small, and because the amount of children there were as well, there was no way of filming what was going on without getting any of the children in shot. And I would, having worked in school, I 100% understand the rules and regulations, the laws, and obviously to protect children, you just can't. I wasn't going to try and chance my arm or anything like that, because that's just not the way you do things. What in the world? Oh, I hit the sign. Well, that's that destroyed. I'm going to lose my deposit on that. But yeah, so all of that to just say thank you to everyone that reached out to ask me how it had gone. People that have known me for a long time, followed my channel for a long time. Yeah, it was amazing. Am I going to be going back up again? I hope so. I hope to do another trip up. The thing Tom was saying when I chatted to him about it was, he said, look, the thing is, he's a very busy person, and there's a lot going on, and they've taken on a project with the farm across the way, the guy called Kieran. So their herd now has gone from, they've got 450, they milk like 160, 165 regularly, and now they're doing a partnership thing with the farm across the way, and they're now up to like 700 odd cows, plus all the stuff he does, and obviously he's YouTubing and everything as well. And he said the problem is, if you came up, I can't guarantee I would be here. And he said I can't guarantee what we'll be doing. He doesn't always do the milking in the morning. One of the guys that works at the farm, Luke, who's been there a long time, does the milking in the mornings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort out emailing and speaking to him and saying, look, it doesn't have to be with you. If you're there at any point, that's great. I just want to come up and experience a day and see what it's like, and the parlour and milking, and and to be able to film and record without a risk of filming any of the children and all that kind of thing. So that's kind of the plan. I don't know how that's going to work out. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to return that piece of equipment, but what I'm also going to do, I'm going to lease that. I'm going to get the 6 metre, because I think horsepower wise it's 260, 320, 340. I might get away. We've got 303 horsepower, so I try with the 9. I suppose we can try with the 9. I'm going to go more metallic again. I don't know why I'd always do this, but I just prefer a metallic-y look. Oh, actually no, I'll sort of plough out. Hang on a second. Okay, so yeah, it's the shanks I wanted to be metallic, not the actual main body of it. So anyway, there you go. That's what I was going to say. I know there are a lot of frustrated people. I'm struggling to keep up with everything. I'm sort of saying yes to stuff. I'm getting these opportunities, and I know it's difficult because a lot of people have messaged me saying, you know, it's fantastic and it's great, and you've worked hard, however long you've worked, you know, been doing this, and it's been a long time. And to get these opportunities, I'm not going to say no to them. But then you've got people then saying, but every time you go and do something like that, you're not making videos, you're not doing your mod reviews, you're not doing your let's plays, and that's what we want to watch. And I get that. It's, you know, do I just keep myself locked up in the man cave doing that? If someone reaches out and says, would you like to come and visit the farm, would you like to come and do this, and I've done that before. I don't know why all of a sudden that's become such a big problem. I don't know why. Yeah, it's a weird one. I don't know. When I said about doing the charity stuff, people seem to be a little bit kind of negative about it, which is odd because it's charity stuff. Why would you be negative? I don't understand. Anyway, I'm not going to show me doing all of this, but I say that's assuming, of course, I can even do it. So what my plan is here, and again assuming, of course, this will pull this. If I do allow create fields, I can. Okay. So at the moment, this is what we're looking like, and this is what I've said on the video and the test video and whatever. That's just showing us ready to harvest constantly. But the fact I can now do this, is that going to pull it? Oh, it's going to pull it, no problem at all. I'm glad I went for the slightly wider one. So what I'm going to do is plough these, which obviously is not going to be great, and I don't know if it's going to allow me to do, because whether it'll allow me to do soil sampling, maybe. I haven't actually done the manual soil sampling on this Let's Play. I might do that. We might at least a soil sampler, because I know someone asked the other day, because the last couple of times I've done it, I did it off camera and just purchased the soil samples. I did a little bit of logging. I thought I was going to enjoy doing the peat stuff more than I did, and I think that again that comes down to the fact that because it's, when I did my initial map tour, it regrew. It took a couple of months. It felt a little bit more kind of realistic, whereas I just think the fact that it's there all the time, I don't know, it seems a little bit cheaty in a way. I don't know. So I thought, well, I can just sell the land back if I want to, and then we'll buy another plot of land. But I thought, why don't we just try and repurpose this land? Reclaim it, you know? There may not be any crops that would grow particularly well in this sort of boggy ground, but at the end of the day, I've got to be careful here, coming right to the edge, because I don't want to mess anything up here, because I'm on allow create fields, and obviously I've got to be careful because I want to keep some of the bits, those 3 strips there. What I'm hoping now is we go to here, yes, so that's showing now as ploughed. Awesome. So it is changing the ground. So I was worried the ground state wouldn't change, that it would stay as it was. So what I'm intending to do now then is spend a bit of time, and if you think now, if I leave 3 strips here to do peat, this is a lot of land. I'm going to do some poplar probably over this side. I might even do some tree planting, because we have cut down a lot of trees, and people were saying that you've done a lot of tree cutting down, you haven't done much replanting. So I think what we might do, I think off the side of this bit of woodland, I'm pointing again, but this bit of woodland here, maybe these 2 rows that I'm ploughing out, I suppose I don't even need to plough them out, I could have just planted trees. But if I plough them, oh I don't know, maybe do some poplar, I might put some trees in a couple of the bits, just so we can get some replanting done, you know, replacing a lot of the trees. And I say a lot of the trees, I haven't actually checked, because I'm doing this on a multiplayer, it doesn't tell you what you've cut down. So what I'd have to do is go back onto standard mode and not save it, because that will combine the 2 farms, the ministry and mine. But see how many trees I've actually cut down, because if I am going to replace them, I'm thinking it's going to be thousands, but because there's a lot of on here already, I don't know how many it would let me even plant. So, you know, we can maybe do a bit of that, a session where we do some tree planting as well. So am I going to get anything into the ground on these in this episode? No, all I'm going to do is get some of this done, and then what I'm intending to do is we're going to head down to the farm, well, our farmstead, and we're going to check on our corn, because I'm sure it's 50. I can actually check in the main menu, but we'll go down to the silo, and I need to replant the cornfield, and we'll get this little cannery in, and we might as well get some canned corn running while we're at it as well. I was thinking of removing the additional field types that was in because of the coal mine, but that's not working anyway. I think all the additional fill types, because there's gravel and sand and so many other things, I just don't think it's working particularly well. So I think what we're going to do is the ministry might come in and bulldoze that old coal facility. They've already taken away the Volvo. It was an idea, it was a theory. I wasn't sure if it was going to work, and it didn't work how I thought it was going to. And I'm not too proud to admit it didn't work. It was a mistake. So you know what? Let's rectify that mistake and sort it out. So like I say, I might remove the additional fill types, and we can kind of go from there, really. I like the fact this cuts backwards as well. That does make life easier, especially doing turns like that. So if we go right to... I suppose if I leave it there, I probably went too far on the other bit up there, but I can always re-landscape it or do something kind of... Let's do that. This is going to take quite some time. Actually, I'm wondering, can I go over... No, this is just I wouldn't be doing this normally. Can I just go over the edge and... Well, we can, okay. So I can go right to the edge and we can kind of do part on, part off. Actually, that's a bit of a worry now. I probably shouldn't have done that, because I'm just thinking that's now, if I go to plant, that's going to plant crops in the water, isn't it? I'm just looking at the side here. Look at the sides, and it's showing a ploughed texture there and stones. Oh no. Oh, I wonder if I bought a load of peat, if I did my peat harvesting and filled these holes with peat, I won't mind you, it probably cost me a lot of money. Could I landscape over that? Should I do a test and see if we can landscape over it? Let's have a quick look. Okay, so I'm in this menu. I've got it on, what do I want it on? Level. So we go square? Doesn't really matter. I've only done it here so far. Now, can I level? Oh, it is letting me level. What's it charging me though? Oh, blimey, that's pricey. Whoa, mama. It will let me do it though. I just need to cut a load more trees down. I'm just thinking, actually, that has actually redone what I did anyway. But I could if I wanted to. I'm just going to cover that back up to there. Saying area restricted, and it's letting me do it. Okay, I wasn't sure if that... So I guess, I mean, if we wanted to, if I wanted to spend the money, if I cut down a whole load of trees, I could fill all of these in. I don't want to fill them all in. It's just I realised I'd made a gaff. I'd made a bit of a mistake there. So I thought the best thing to do is if I just fix that error, because I really don't want to have crops growing in the ditch. That doesn't make sense. So maybe this one row I'll change. That is getting quite pricey though, isn't it? Okay, well. Maybe just this bit down the bottom, and the top bit I won't. It's going to be a bit weird otherwise. I guess the other thing we could do if we wanted to, we could also lower the ground, because I'm assuming there's a water table down the bottom here then. And we could have a little pond. We can make a lake or something down if we wanted to. I think we're looking okay there. Right. So, note to self. Don't go too far over on the other bit, and the same with this side. Have I gone into the ditch this side? No, actually we seem to be right on the edge. That's cool. Okay, right, I'm going to carry on doing this. I'll see you in a bit, and then we'll get on to sorting out that corn thing, and then getting the cornfield done. How are we looking this time? Yeah, it's weird. When I was doing the stuff the other day, I suppose... Oh, no, look. How weird's that? You can still see the water through the ploughing. That's nuts. So it's fine when I've covered it over, but as I'm ploughing, it is actually, and when you drive over it, because of the ground deformation, it sinks into the ploughing, and I'm getting the water coming through. Oh man, that actually looks fantastic. I know it probably shouldn't do, but that's very cool. That is very cool. Anyway, right. Getting very excited about it. Right. Let's go. I don't know if I'll be able to hire a worker on this either. That's the only other downside. Once I've made a field though, and it's registered as a field, it shouldn't it? Maybe? Don't know. We'll see about that. Okay, I'm part way through ploughing, but I thought, you know what, I need to get the other stuff underway because I'm going to spend ages doing it otherwise. If we go over to here, you'll see now I've left, there's actually a strip between there. There are 3 strips there, so that's what we've done already. That's what we're doing at the moment. That's where I'm up to there. So I've got that bit there to do, that bit there to do, and part of that. I did extend a little bit that way because we own a little bit of land. That's forest there, so I couldn't really extend much into that way. And obviously there's all of that. So we've got a lot. But the one thing I have found, or am finding, is I'm wondering whether or not we might have a problem here with precision farming. Because I don't think, because that's been set up to be peat, I don't think it's going to be a soil map. Because I've clicked on this and I've got nothing coming up for soil sampling unless I try and, I might have to do it manually. If I press details now, that comes up, but it doesn't give me anything on there either. So I've been trying to click onto the land. I've clicked onto that bit, just keeps getting that come up. I'm not sure. But anyway, so as far as it goes for our corn then, what do we end up with? 53,531 we end up with corn. I think that's amazing. I really am staggered by that. I really didn't think we'd get that much. So, where are we going to put this facility? I don't suppose we need all of this. We could put it in one of the gaps, couldn't we? I could take one of these out and put it in a gap rather than take up another space. I think I might do that. Let's demolish that and we'll put it in the space. Am I going to regret doing that? Hey, all I can do is try. Remember the rule, people. Remember the rule. Save your game first. And there we have it. £36,000. Or whatever it is you might happen to be using. Light switch is just here. There we go. Where's our... I'll keep doing the light switch. Oh, I've done it again. I should have paid attention when I placed it, shouldn't I? It's got to be here somewhere, isn't it? There we go. So, preserve food factory. So, we'll do all the other things you can do, preserve food wise. So, if we were going to do peas or green beans, but again, we need harvesters for those. Although, what have we got? Because we've got rice as well, haven't we? Rice bag. Rice box, long grain rice. We could do that. We've got some rice, haven't we? Rice rolls from long grain rice. Oh, I forgot we had all that. There you go, sweet corn. So that's been added at the bottom. Sweet corn storing. And we need, just for that, sweet corn. We lose a little bit, but not a huge amount. 240 cycles a month. So I reckon we'll put a bit of both in. Should we do some rice box, rice rolls and sweet corn? Yeah, why not? And then we can store them. That makes perfect sense to me. Utilise what we've got, preserves what we've got for storage. Yes, 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 let's do it. And then what we'll do is I'm going to go and grab the cedar. We need to sort out a jet wash actually, because we oh, I can't remember how much did that say it took? Let's go and check on our capacities. That can't be right. No, that's synced up to the silo, hasn't it? That has to have synced up to the silo because the silo's got a million litre capacity. And there's no way that takes 1 million. It's got to be 48,000 litres, hasn't it? 1,048,000. Yeah, it's got to be. So long grain rice will take 48,000 litres. We haven't got 48,000 litres. And then our corn, it will take 1,048. Yeah, so we won't put it all in. Mind you, though, hang on, that didn't even dawn on me. If that's registering. Is it already showing that it's in here? No, it's not, is it? Oh, I'm having an absolute... I'm having a mare! It is showing it's in here already. So that's already synced itself up to the silo. So I haven't got to move anything. Oh, come on. Well, okay, that's even better, isn't it? Look at that. That was a happy accident. Long grain rice. Long grain rice. It's just long grain rice. We don't need anything else, do we? Nope. Cool. And then... sweat corn. Let's get some sweat corn. So this is a whole, like I say, we are doing the can. Can we plough out the bog down the bottom? We've managed to do that. We are canning. Can we can the corn? We are canning that. And then we got, yeah, I didn't even dawn on me about the rice. I thought this sweet corn canning factory, I couldn't remember what it did, and I thought, well, even if it just does can corn, I'm happy with that. But oh, we can do the rice stuff as well. So that also then makes me think, what could we do? Because I'm like I said, I'm trying to stay away from greenhouses. But what could we put in the ground that we could potentially put into here to run that's not going to require a crazy harvester? I mean, we could, in that cornfield, do carrots or parsnip or red beet. No, did we already put... No, we put potatoes in the ground, didn't we? And then we could do preserved here. That would work, wouldn't it? And we could lease a planter. I suppose I've got my planter. I didn't want to lease more gear. I haven't used my new... Oh, not planter, my new seeder. Maybe we'll consider that on one of the other fields that we've got, that we're making. Mind you, that being said, if we do a whole load of... Oh, there we go, we're running already. If we do a whole load more forestry off camera, raise a bit more funds, there's nothing to stop us leasing from the ministry a bigger harvester. If we need to do a green bean harvester or a pea harvester, I reckon we might do peas or something. There's nothing to stop us doing that. We can afford to. We've got the money there. And like I say, if I do a full load of logs, that's normally somewhere between high 60s and low 80s. So that would easily cover the cost of leasing a bigger machine. I think that might be something we could do. Didn't need to use that. Yeah, we definitely did jet wash because everything is looking absolutely filth. So that's our apple juice running. All that corn header needs to go back. Yeah, I might get that. What came out the other day? I might get that PTO jet wash. At least we've got that. You can get a jet wash that is mobile. You can push around or whatever. But I think having that PTO mounted one might be a quite cool thing to have. We can have it down there, and then we can just stick it on the back of one of the small tractors. And because this really does need some sorting out. It really does need some sorting out. Anyway, okay, on to the next thing then. So. I don't understand. Oh yes, of course we did. I'm thinking, why is that filthy? We haven't used it, but we did. We put out we did. Is it wheat or barley? We put something in the ground already, didn't we? We did wheat. So what I want to do now is switch that over from wheat, barley, oats, canola, long grain rice, oilseed radish, grass. What should we do? Peas or spinach? I reckon we should do peas. Let's do peas. And if we have to lease a harvester, we'll lease a harvester. I reckon that's what we're going to do. And we're direct drilling, people. We are direct drilling. So that's good. Like I say, maybe we'll get some weeds, but we have got some herbicide. We can always spray them off. I've just got to keep an eye out for them because I keep forgetting that because if we haven't ploughed, we're going to get them. So let's turn that on. No, don't need to turn it on. It's just manual, isn't it? And this goes at a nice fair rate. Actually, what we can do as well. Again, I know this annoys people, but I'm going to put it on. Oh no, I had a really weird thing with this field. Yeah, look. I've got a really weird overlap, and for later on around the field as well. This is why the harvester struggled so much, I think, because some of it's probably the shape of the field I did. It seems to be really janky. It goes all over the place. I'm not quite sure why. Look, we've got such a big overlap, but I think it's because of the way the fields are done. Yeah, look. I'm just going to have to go with it here, I think. Yeah, I'm going to turn it off, and I'll do it myself. No, turn it off. There we go. I'll do it myself. Yeah, it's because of the way the field's done, because I've got a lot of grass in between. I think in the process of doing what I did, I think I accidentally caught a load. It's why I keep getting crops growing in the overlap. Yeah, I'm saying, let's do peas. I'm already putting peas in the ground. It's a bit late now to change my mind. I suppose I could go back over it again if I wanted to, but we are doing peas. So yeah, so I've got some bits here on the edges where I've still got a bit of grass, and I suppose I should have really ploughed that a bit better, shouldn't I? But that's all right. Why not? Let's just go for it. Be a lot of peas, and the way the yield's been so far, I can't odds it. It's been doing way better than I thought. I am going to have to really pay attention to the fact that because I was going to put some of my corn and some of my rice into that preserved canning machine factory, The fact it's running directly out of my silo, I've got to pay attention to that, because otherwise if I forget, that's going to just drain the silo. I suppose at the end of the day, do I necessarily need to keep hold of any loose rice? I suppose I should do really, but boxed rice means, again, it just preserves it. It's just in a different format, isn't it? And I have got that other storage space because I put another silo in that all the wood chip went in. That wood chip silo does also have space for pallets, so if I want to store pallets up there as well, I can. Yeah, my initial thought with this was, well, I can just set a worker off at doing the planting, seeding here, getting the peas in the ground. I'll go back to getting on with my ploughing, but I'm not sure. I think if I do a couple of runs round and then do it, then potentially it shouldn't have too much of an issue. Just finding, so if I set it so, it's easy just to show you, isn't it? So on here where we've got our hour work, you can see our lines going across the field. It's a very weird angle. I don't know why they go. I can change that if I want to, but if I take work the headlands off, if I've already done them, and start with up and down, it shouldn't have a problem. I haven't got the option there to change the angle of the passes, have I? Oh, that's all right. It's okay. At least we're getting a whole different range of crops in. I don't do poplars very often. I planted poplars on Riverbend Springs and never got around to harvesting them. And like things like poplar bales, I haven't done poplar bales in I can't remember how long. But again, that's just assuming, of course, we even get to that point. I need to sort out as well, talking with the ministry about demolishing that coal facility, whether they're just going to turn up with bulldozers and get rid of it, or whether or not that's something I'm going to need to do. I don't know, but that should help things out. Right, I'll see when this is done, and then we'll get on to just getting our spraying done. Once I've done what I'm running outside, I might go around 3 times maybe, and then what I'll do, there might be a little clip of me hiring the worker and just seeing what it does, seeing where it ends up. The next episode we'll look at what we're going to put into our bog, and see what crops we can put into there. I say next episode, I'm trying to think when I'm going to get all the rest of that done. It's Father's Day here in the UK. Is it? Mother's Day's different, isn't it, around the world? I don't. Is Father's Day the same everywhere? I can never remember. I think I've had this conversation every year. But it's Father's Day here in the UK. Happy Father's Day to any fathers out there. If you are a father, if you are a father to be, if you have lost fathers like what I have, and Mrs. Silly P, I will be raising a glass to my dad today. Got a couple of cards for my kids. Mrs. Silly P, unfortunately, this is one of those, it's really difficult because Mrs. Silly P is in, where is she? Oh, I can't remember now. So the Manchester or Birmingham. The next couple of days with work for some meetings and pitching for stuff and that kind of thing. But she's got to start very early tomorrow morning, which means she can't get there in time first thing in the morning because she's got to travel to get there. So she's going later on this afternoon, so she's not going to be around. And I got a message from my kids the other day saying, Dad, can you make sure that you're available around 6:30 PM on Sunday? Wear a smart shirt. That was it. Well, okay, I can do that, I think. My kids are taking me out for dinner. Very cool, isn't that nice? That's very nice, I like that. I'm looking forward to it. One of my children, my eldest, is on holiday with her boyfriend at the moment, so she's not going to be around. But yeah, that's going to be really nice. I'm looking forward to that. That doesn't happen very often, so yeah, happy Father's Day to anyone out there. You might be a surrogate father, and when I say that, because it's always a difficult one, isn't it? There are people that are, when I say natural fathers, I mean as in like the father of a child. But often you get situations where a person takes on the role of being a father. They may not actually be the particular child's actual birth father kind of thing, but take on that role. And there are a lot of father figures out there, people that take on that role and do that job, And I think people that like that often get overlooked. I know not by the families, they don't, of course they don't, but you know, it's a difficult one, isn't it? But if you are one of those people, hats off to you. That's awesome. It's like foster parents and stuff like that. You're taking on that role for a child that technically, I suppose, technically isn't yours, technically. But when you feel like they are and you've taken on that responsibility, that's a massive undertaking. That is huge. And I've always said there's no rule book to parenting, there's no rule book to being a father. People have written books over the years, but it's not easy. Then, you know, you do the best you can, don't you? You hope that, you know, and you will always go for it. If you're new parents, if you're a new dad now, your child might have just been born, could be a year old, whatever, you know. It's not always going to be easy. People always say, does it get easier? It doesn't always get easier, but the problems change as your children grow. The things you have to deal with, the world changes around you as you grow and your children grow. And problems that I have faced with my children growing up will be different to problems that you may face with your children if your children are very young now, because the world's a constantly changing place, and things that I have worried about and been concerned about my children having to deal with, and me being around to help guide them through, aren't, you know, there are things that are very, very different now. I can't imagine bringing up my children very young in the world now. It is a very scary place. But for the aspect of technology and you know, the world, the internet and computers and safety generally, it's a weird thing, isn't it? You know, all the things you don't think of. It's like, oh, you know, I just wanted to be a dad, and then when you're a dad, it's like, oh, this is so cool. But then as your child then grows up and they start to go, and they're going to go off to nursery, then school, and then it's secondary school, primary schools and secondary schools, and you never stop worrying. You never stop, you know, being concerned about the things that may affect them. All you can be is there for them if they need you. I guess that's the thing, isn't it? You know? So, yeah. Anyway, very long-winded way of saying that. Happy Father's Day. Anyway, I think that's where I'm going to leave this episode, because time's getting on. I've got some stuff to do, and it is Father's Day, as I may have already mentioned. I'm going to get most of this field done without hiring a worker now, aren't I, having said all that? But that's all right. And then I've got all that ploughing to do. I've got plenty of work to get done between now and next episode. But then next episode, am I going to get it done? Well, I don't know. We will see. We will see. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed what we've done so far and what we're still doing. If you are, and if you have, please give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then of course, please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.